Welcome back. Kevin's Mobile Repair, 2017 Nissan Altima 1.8, doing an alternator. So I'll give you a couple little how-to about going about doing this, and then I'm going to upload a short for the quick and down the dirty side. There's the old one, there's the new one. So we'll start out with the removal process. There's a bar, goes right here, which would be this. They are 12, 12, and got a 12 here and a 12 here, so one here and one here, which cinch into right here. I took off the front crash sensor 10mm to get to the 12 nut that was right here. Once those 12s are off, you're going to have a series of push pin clips to take out that little POS air dam, whatever you want to call it, but those are going to be holding these pieces right here in place. Once the air dam is out of the way and the little push pin clips, these little boogers, they all seem to break, so if you want to get new ones and is an older vehicle, preferably do so. Take your bar, move your bar out of the way. Right now I got mine set over the side, didn't disconnect the cable or any of the electrical connectors, just got it out of the way. You will need to do so in order to gain access to the fan assembly, which is sitting right here. Now for this side here, I only lost maybe a cup of coolant, which is what you see down there. Not much at all. So I have these little hose clamps that I clamped it off, so anything coming out of here will not flow around everywhere. I also have caps for when I've done radiators before. I save the tips so that the coolant doesn't come sloshing out of there. That's just my easier way of doing stuff, so I don't make a mess when I do things. You don't have to do so. You can drain the coolant halfway. You don't need the whole way, halfway, so that way there's nothing up top here. When you take it off, there'd be no mess. That's completely up to you. But for the fan part, fan has 4 clips. It's going to slide into here and slide into here on both sides, and then you have a connector that goes right here. You'll need to remove the electrical connector piece right there in order to get the harness up and out of the way, which is going to be right here. So shift the light like this. Right. Okay. See this clip right here? It's a push clip. Pushes in like that, and then the bottom half will come out. Same thing with the bottom. Bottom's the same way. That side over there, same way, and that one too. What I used was a flathead screwdriver, and then a smaller flathead screwdriver for the bottom. I just kind of wedged it in there, pulled it up so that way it stayed in the unlock position. Just did one side at a time, pushed the bottom one in, come up to the top, pushed it in, and then lifted it up, and then same way to this side. Did that, and the whole assembly just comes right out. You'll need to do so in order to get the alternator through this area right here. It doesn't go from the bottom, it will come out from the top. The alternator itself has a 12 on the back and a connector up top here. Pretty simple. The 2 bolts on the side are going to be 13s. I used a shallow pass-through 13mm setup, which is basically what you use for your serpentine belt removal type tool. So if you have that type of tool, that fits in there just perfect to do that. For the belt itself, Nissan love to have that belt tensioner in a god-awful stupid place. Here's my 14, hold on a second. Alright, this is a mountain wrench. This is a ratcheting swivel head mountain wrench. This is a 14mm. Probably seen this used on a couple of different ones, but there is our belt tensioner right there, and you have a mountain wrench that's going to go on it right there. because it's so close to the frame, nothing will get in there that will make it very easy. Mountain wrenches work well, gives you plenty of leverage in order to do so. So that is what I would use. You can use a wrench, but it will likely slip off because you're only going to have 3/4 of the gripping power needed. Also, the 10s, 1, 2, 3, 4, couple of 10s for the splash shield down here, and then also a bunch of more of your favorite little clips. This tool, trim tool, metal, is designed perfectly to take those type of clips off. They separate up at the top here and pull it from the bottom. The bottom ones are going to probably be your biggest bitch because they are usually ones that have all the dirt and rust and grime and all that kind of crap that have been subjected to from underneath the car. Those are probably the ones you're going to break the most. But once they are free, you can pull the wheel well liner. I got mine sit back here, and then gain access to the belt. Once you've got the belt loose, I don't take it all the way off unless you're going to replace it. I just kind of tuck it up over here out of the way so it stays on some of the pulleys. For the 13 right here, take the 13 bolts off. The bottom one will not come off. The top one will come out all the way. The bottom one you leave in place. There's a little, see a little notch right there? So what it'll do is it'll come out part way and stay in place. So you just got to pull the bolt back probably about 2.5, maybe 3 inches. Leave the bolt inside the alternator assembly, and then you will be able to loosen it up. Now, loosen it up is the fun part, because they have, like on most alternators, these little pins right here collapse when the alternator is installed. It's designed to tighten up the gap in between any manufacturing process that either the alternator is a little too big or the bracket is a little too big or too small, but that's what they're designed to do. Most alternators have them. So as the bolt goes through here and tightens it up, this cinches it in here out to this point right here and just takes up the gap. So what you got to do is you got to loosen it up a little bit in order to get it out. Now what I did is I put my pry bar right here, will be the top bolt. Top bolt goes right here into this little section. So I was able to get the pry bar and in between here and the alternator on the other side, and then pull it this way. What it's going to do on the bottom half, it will recess this guide pin in enough so that you're able to walk it off here. You can't pull it down all the way unless you take off your AC line. I don't recommend doing so. So what that's going to do is that's going to pull that bottom guide pin in a little bit, and same thing with the top. It's going to push them both in so that you're able to take the alternator off. Same thing with the new alternator. Make sure that these pins are pushed in or at least flush. If they're not, you're going to have a bare-ass time, a biatch-ass time, getting those things in order to line them up and put everything in. You're just going to be cussing because there's not much wiggle room in there once that's in place. Pretty tight fit. But that is basically it. Once those 2 bolts are out, the bottom one stays in place, the top won't come out. And you can walk it over this way and it'll come out right here. Reverse process going back in. Not too much to it, but do be careful about these connectors. Older vehicles, these plastic connectors will break, so just be gentle with taking those off. Other than that, not much to it. Oh, very first thing, take off your positive battery terminal. Duh. Any questions or comments, please feel free to let me know.